Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muna. I'm a Palestinian Lebanese that have been in America now for 40 years. I know what alienation is, and I know what it means to be left outside of the circle. As a Palestinian, my parents left in 1948, and I only knew Lebanon as the place that took me in and gave me a home at that time. And wonderful people, actually. Aziza is one person I can say is a friend that we just knew that we're both speaking at the same place, but she's a childhood friend of mine. So you can tell friendship goes very deep-rooted among people, no matter what background they have. My father and my mother are both from Jerusalem, and they both come from Christian heritage. And when I told my mother yesterday, I said, guess what? I've been asked to share my thoughts in an iftar. She said, Mom, you don't have to do anything. Just read Al-Fatiha to them. And this would be a communal between everyone at the table. And then she started to recited the whole thing. I taped her, actually, because I thought an 89-year-old mother that has been raised Catholic in Palestine, yet went to schools also in Nablus and was taught all the Muslim doctrine, could sit there at her age and remember that prayer is unifying. So thank you first for inviting us in to join you in breaking fast today. I feel very privileged to be included in the circle at this time. My thoughts when Emery sent me that email and said, now that you accepted the invitation to come to the iftar, would you share some thoughts about breaking bread and what it means in building communities? I accepted, but it put me in a tizzy. What do I have in me? I'm a simple woman that lived her life trying to project the principles and the values I believe in amongst the people that God brings into my path. And I realized that I went into a place where I realized that in Ramadan, people fast. And I thought about that. What does it mean? Why are we called to fast? And I realized, in simple words, fasting is really combined with prayer, and fasting and prayer brings us closer to the heart of God. So during that process, the adjective of God as God is love, we become more intimate with God in Him instilling in us that love. Then when we break fast, and including others in the fast, and we invite the stranger off the street, or we do the sadaqah to them, or a zakah to them, and we bring them in away from alienation into inclusion. That need of being included is everybody, every human being. As Aziza has said, in our humanity, we have that need. We need to be heard. We need our needs to be met. And one that you extend yourself into including the other, loving your neighbor as yourself, in other words, that to me is God in action through you. That means to me that I'm loving my neighbor as myself. So I'm becoming a true Muslim, which is obedient to God. The word means to me to be obedient to God is a true Muslim. So when I live that, I become a true Muslim. So for me, that also represents, in that first inclusion, the other person, the other human being is treated as an equal. He's no more on the outside. He's never looked at again as a poor, as oppressed, or as a widow who have no backbone of protection. By inviting them in, I've given them respect. What our world is feeling alienation from is lack of respect. We feel the West do not respect us, so we act out so we can get our voices heard. Many of this alienation between different people is coming from a place where a need is going unmet. So my responsibility then is to give it out first. It's up to me then to step out of the circle of waiting for the other to do it to me and my doing it for them and to them. Bring them in. I'm reminded, I'm going to share a story with you, and it's not what I thought I will share, but in my spirit I feel it would link what Aziza has shared with us, the suffering of our nations, our own people, in extending that hand of understanding. So may I tell you the story, and that would be it. When I first came to the United States, I came on a business with my husband at the time for 3 years. So the company that brought us here bought us a house. And to buy the house, they sent us 2 blueprints. We picked up one that we liked, and we bought the house. I was just getting adjusted into this country in 1975. The Lebanese Civil War broke up. So I realized that this is going to be home for a while. Meanwhile, I took my daughter, my 3-year-old daughter, down the track, down the block, to introduce her to her boundaries on her tricycle. One woman comes running out of her house towards me, and she's like very excited. She said, "Are you the woman who bought that house up the street?" And with joy in my heart, I looked at her and I said, "Yes." And I thought, wow, Americans are very friendly, and she's coming out to greet me and be a friend. Her next sentence to me was, "How dare you move into this neighborhood?" That was my reception into the United States. So and that's 1975. So I took 3 steps backwards, like I was taken aback. And I said, "I'm sorry, if you're different than a human being, I apologize." That was my immediate response, because I couldn't understand the content of why she had that for me. I ignored it because a lot of people from my family started to come from Lebanon because they were under fire and all of this. So my house was overflowing, yet Halloween came, and the 4-letter word was written on my house, and my daughter's swing set was tipped over. So at that time, I'm still with a new baby, a daughter, a large family coming through. And we come from a country, we don't trust governments that much, right? So I didn't know I should be calling police, seek protection. That never occurred to me. So what I did, I repainted that wall, and I re-erected my daughter's. But I started to think within me, what is it that they are seeing in me? What is it that I am carrying on top of I'm burdened with? And it turned out the word Arab. That was the fear, the word that I am different. The fact that I don't come from the same line these people that were there. So what did I do? I had 2 choices. Sell the house, ask the company to buy me another house in another area with people like me, who think like me, walk like me, talk like me, so I can feel free and secure, or do what I know in principles is right, is extend the hand of friendship. Well, I chose the second one because I do follow the teachings and principles of Jesus in my life that taught me to love even my enemy. And so what I did is I started knocking on the doors, every door I knocked on that whole block, and I said, "Hi, my name is Muna. I got educated in my country. This country is going to reap the education that my country has given to me. I would like to be your friend. Would you please accept coming into my home? Let's break bread together and get to know each other. And maybe then we can build a bridge of understanding between us. Not everyone accepted, but those who did not regret it, because we became good friends. And one of them extended themselves to my sister to give her a room in their house because I had no more room in the house. Now, to add value to this story and to keep fair, the community was Jewish. I am a Palestinian. And I did extend my hand. Each one of us can do it. And it starts with marhaba. And it starts with how are you? And it starts with I want to be your friend. So as we're breaking bread today, I am hoping and I'm praying that the fasting you have done to break bread with would be extending that hand to the communities that God bring into your path, because each person has the Spirit of God within them. So find that and commune with that as people of faith. So thank you for listening to me.